Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, after weeks at the center of controversy, the We charity announces major changes. But in Ottawa, the Prime Minister remains under fire. Back to school with big cuts and changes.
You really need that immersive experience in class.
Canada's largest school board considers ditching French to get kids back in class. To the extreme, some are going to not to wear a mask.
As far as I'm concerned, it's totally unacceptable.
The fake exemption cards making the rounds. And a morning run that ended face-to-face with a bear.
I thought I was going to die.
A Manitoba woman's very close call. This is The National. After ending up in the middle of a political storm, sparked earlier this month after it was handed a multi-million-dollar government contract, tonight, We Charity says it's making some internal changes. The organization was chosen to run a federal student grant program this summer, but its close ties to the Prime Minister and his family were a problem and put it under a glaring spotlight. This week, Justin Trudeau apologized to Canadians for not removing himself from the discussion about that contract. There is now an ethics investigation, and caught up in it all, We now says it's time to return to its roots. Here's Ashley Burke.
This is what made We known worldwide. But this is where it started with 12-year-old Craig Kielburger in India. Woo! And tonight the charity says it's going back to basics. In a statement today on the future of We, the group says We Charity will return to its roots, prioritizing our international development work, announcing a formal organizational review to streamline the We organizational structure, with the goal of a clearer separation between the social enterprise and the charitable entities.
Are you guys having a good time today?
The charity also said it's canceling its popular We Day events for the foreseeable future because of the pandemic, and hiring outside agencies and advisors to clean up the corporate structure. We has been under fire since the Trudeau government announced the charity would administer a $900 million grant program for students.
I made a mistake.
The Prime Minister was forced to apologize for not recusing himself from discussions of the deal because of his family's long-standing partnership with We.
And I'm sincerely sorry about not having done that.
Including payments totaling $250,000 to his mother for speaking at We events.
I was concerned that the Prime Minister was too close to it, and I was very happy to see, one, that the decision was ultimately reversed and quite quickly, and two, that the Prime Minister apologized.
Former employees have also spoken out against the corporate culture at We, describing a culture of fear within the charity. This news from We still doesn't answer all of the questions swirling around Parliament. They'll continue Thursday when the Finance Committee meets. Conservatives want to grill senior members of the Prime Minister's office, but for now they'll have to settle with the minister, who's responsible for the student grant program that We was going to run, along with senior civil servants who gave We the green light. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
The COVID situation in the U.S. is getting more dire by the day. Infections are on the rise in 41 states. The worst off, California, Texas, and Florida. But it's hitting smaller states hard, too. Overall, there are nearly 3.5 million cases and more than 137,000 deaths. As for those smaller states, Oklahoma has reported 994 new cases, including the first governor to test positive. Nevada has announced a record number of new cases, 1,100. It's blaming the surge on lax precautions by those celebrating the 4th of July. But on the corporate front, Walmart is making masks mandatory as of Monday. They're the largest retailer to do so. Then there's Washington. For days, Dr. Anthony Fauci has endured attacks by Donald Trump and others, but he says it's all just making the White House look bad. Katie Simpson tells us how Trump now appears to be smoothing things over.
Known for pitting staffers against one another, the president today tried to play peacemaker, distancing himself from his top trade advisor, Peter Navarro, after he wrote a scathing op-ed about Dr. Anthony Fauci.
He made a statement representing himself. He shouldn't be doing that. No, I have a very good relationship with Anthony.
Titled, "Anthony Fauci has been wrong about everything I have interacted with him on," Navarro lists the times they have clashed about how to fight COVID, including a dispute over hydroxychloroquine, Despite having no medical expertise, Navarro has pushed the controversial drug as a breakthrough for COVID patients, even though there's no solid evidence. He's frustrated that Dr. Fauci, the top infectious disease expert in the country, would not back his claim.
I can't explain Peter Navarro. He's in a world by himself.
During an interview with the magazine The Atlantic, Dr. Fauci appeared baffled by the attacks on his credibility from the very people he's advising.
I think they realize now that that was not a prudent thing to do because it's only reflecting negatively on them.
Last week, the White House released a list of the mistakes it says Dr. Fauci made after Donald Trump said this.
Dr. Fauci's a nice man, but he's made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes were made. A lot of mistakes.
Dr. Fauci is at times seen as out of step with the White House. Trump has repeatedly downplayed the pandemic, while Fauci has repeatedly warned of darker days ahead.
He's an American hero.
The infighting is now being used in a fresh attack ad by a group of anti-Trump Republicans.
Now Donald Trump is attacking Dr. Fauci. Why? Because Trump failed America.
And Katie is here with more. Katie, with so much focus on infighting today, there wasn't nearly as much attention paid to a new directive from the White House about how COVID numbers are reported.
And Andrew, scientists are deeply troubled by this decision from the White House. As of today, all official COVID numbers, details about cases and deaths must be reported directly to the Trump administration rather than the Centers for Disease Control. The big concern about that is that the information will no longer be made public or that it will be further politicized. The pandemic is already viewed through a deeply partisan lens here. Andrew.
Katie Simpson at the White House. Thanks. Now, here in Canada, we haven't seen anywhere near the same level of pandemic politics when it comes to things like wearing a mask. But today, in Ontario's cottage country, an altercation over wearing a mask at a grocery store ended with a man dead. Talia Ricci is in Halliburton tonight.
The dispute started here at this Value Mart in Minden, Ontario.
They're a little bit scared and really shaken up because of what happened.
An elderly employee was sanitizing the shopping carts and offering masks to shoppers when the 73-year-old customer allegedly refused a mask, then assaulted the worker. He then fled in his vehicle, causing damage in the parking lot.
Police attempted to stop that vehicle, the suspect vehicle, and had to discontinue in the interest of public safety.
It ended about half an hour away outside what's believed to be the man's home. Ontario's Special Investigations Unit says 2 officers opened fire.
And ultimately, a 73-year-old male was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced deceased.
Drop it! Drop it! Drop it! Drop it! Drop the gun! Drop the weapon!
It's not the first time an apparent dispute over a mask has ended in violence. Yesterday in Michigan, an officer shot and killed a man accused of stabbing someone after he was confronted for not wearing a mask. At the Value Mart, employees say no one was seriously injured, but they're questioning whether they should be responsible for enforcing face coverings.
If we didn't have to force him and remove him, not remove him, but tell him that he couldn't come into the store, nothing would have happened really, right? He would have got his groceries and went along with his day.
That was very challenging today, and they're the heroes. I'm going to get emotional. They deserve the credit. That's all I want to say.
The SIU is asking anyone with information or video of the incident to contact them. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Halliburton, Ontario.
Now, in places where it's mandatory to wear masks inside, some people are trying to use fake exemption cards to convince businesses that they don't have to wear those masks. As Farah Morale explains, people who can't wear them say that is a slap in the face.
It's been just 1 week since masks became mandatory indoors in Toronto, but already plenty of examples of people who are anti-mask trying to defy the rules.
Here I am at Toronto Western Hospital.
Videos like this have been shared on social media, people trying to get inside buildings without a mask by using a so-called exemption card.
I gotta get in there. Absolutely, but here's the thing. Just for the meantime, you have to wear a mask. No.
This is one of those cards. The problem is they're fake.
What's troubling to me is that people are using the logos of legitimate medical organizations, printing these up.
It's a slap in the face, says some who are immunocompromised and at increased risk of contracting COVID. Gabe Watson has cystic fibrosis.
It's a little bit insulting, you know, but yeah, I think it's crazy.
It's also damaging to those who actually can't wear masks for real health reasons.
I'm really concerned about the very, very, very small proportion of the population that has a legitimate reason for not being able to wear a mask. And the problem is we're actually disenfranchising those individuals more when other people are trying to abuse that.
An account that's been sharing videos on social media of people using the fake cards is run by two people leading one of Toronto's anti-mask groups. Anti-mask rallies have been held in cities across the country, some arguing it's a violation of their human rights.
As far as I'm concerned, it's totally unacceptable.
Today, Ontario Premier Doug Ford condemned the fake exemption cards. But the mandatory mask bylaw is municipal and not provincial, and a major gray area is enforcement.
Not a lot of guidance is provided to business owners with respect to how to handle these situations.
For those whose lives are potentially at stake, the hope is common sense will prevail.
There's nothing you can gain by not wearing one.
Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
Ontario reported 102 new COVID cases today, the fewest in more than 3 months, and some welcome news for those with loved ones in long-term care.
Starting on July 22nd, indoor visits for 2 at a time can resume.
The province also loosening restrictions for outdoor visits. 2 guests will now be allowed, and they won't require a COVID-19 test.
We've had people who were actually sick on a flight coming in from Toronto, from other parts of Canada.
BC's top doctor calling for a stricter approach from airlines after a number of flights bound for the province had infected travelers on board. She's asking for a better cancellation policy and flight manifests to help with contact tracing. Airlines, though, say they're following guidelines from federal agencies. Well, in mid-July, parents across Canada have September in mind. Specifically, how will their provincial government get their kids back to school? Well, a report today from the country's largest school board might be sobering for all of them. It's about the cost of getting back to normal, both in dollars and in educational opportunities. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson explains.
Bonjour, les amis. After a spring at home, Helen Armbruster longed for some normalcy for her daughter come September. But today, she learned one part of her education is not a sure thing: French immersion.
You really need that immersive experience in class, and it's not something that you can have happen at home unless you're French speaking.
Ontario's government has made its preference clear.
Our goal as a government is to have kids in the classroom 5 days a week.
Today's preliminary report spelled out what that might mean. With class sizes whittled down to 15 kids, TDSB would have to hire up to 2,500 new teachers to the tune of a whopping $249 million. And there wouldn't be enough qualified staff to maintain the delivery of core French, French immersion, and extended French. This French immersion teacher understands the need for tough decisions, but says a lot is at stake.
I think a lot of people put their kids into a French immersion program because they value the acquisition of French. It's part of our cultural fabric, and you may see parents decide to switch over into the private system.
Other possible impacts outlined in the document include the school day ending 48 minutes earlier than usual. But many of these scenarios don't necessarily have to become reality, says this board spokesperson.
It really is critical that we get provincial support through additional funding for this. The fact is, school boards are not budgeted with a pandemic in mind, as many organizations are not.
School boards across Ontario have to submit their back-to-school plans to the Ministry of Education by August 4th, which means more midsummer uncertainty for parents and students in a year that's had plenty of it. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Canadian universities and national sports groups say they need more diversity among coaching staff and leadership. This after CBC Sports determined most people in those positions are white. Devin Haru shows us what they found.
We're trying to get that ball up to our ears to finish.
Out here on the court, Tanisha Giddens felt seen, heard, and appreciated.
Go get Nelly!
But when it came to getting a chance to coach, she felt sidelined.
We get discrimination just being female, and then black women, we get double discrimination. Not up here.
So when she was hired as head coach of the Concordia women's basketball team in 2015, Giddens took the initiative and hired a coaching staff who were all people of color.
It's systemic. It's just policies that were in place before. And unfortunately, nobody tried to change that. I have somewhat of the power to do that.
But Giddens is in rare company. A visual audit conducted by CBC Sports examined hundreds of key roles at 56 Canadian universities. Of the nearly 400 positions examined, only about 10% were held by people who are Black or Indigenous or persons of color. Only one of the 56 schools has a non-white athletic director.
Breaks 2 tackles.
But now U Sports admits it should do more to reflect the diversity of its athletes in top leadership positions.
Sometimes the barriers are systemic, sometimes they're very visible, and now it's an opportunity to better understand why they've not advanced within the system.
CBC Sports also looked at the boards of the Canadian Olympic Committee and 7 of the country's largest national sport organizations. Of the nearly 100 board members reviewed, only 7 of these key positions reflect diversity. The COC said in a statement, "We need to do more." Giddens is now part of the newly formed Black Canadian Coaches Association.
I think it's an opportunity for Black people to kind of like use their voices and our anti-racist allies to amplify our voices when they can.
With the hope of leveling the playing field. Devin Haru, CBC News, Toronto.
Today, the family of George Floyd filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Minneapolis and the 4 officers charged in his death.
It was the knee of the entire Minneapolis Police Department on the neck of George Floyd that killed him.
They allege the city has a history of policies and procedures that violate the civil rights of Black men under arrest. The killing of George Floyd in May triggered nationwide protests against police brutality. The search for Martin Carpentier has reached its 7th day. The 44-year-old is wanted in connection with the deaths of his 2 young daughters. Their bodies were found over the weekend, southwest of Quebec City. And Vancouver businessman David Sidhu, a former CFL player, has been sentenced to 3 months in a U.S. prison for paying a professional test writer to impersonate his 2 sons and write their college admissions tests. His lawyers say Sidhu's admitted mistake shouldn't tarnish his record of philanthropy. Well, Quebec has been rocked for weeks, and it's got nothing to do with COVID-19. Superstars of television, music, and culture have been accused of misconduct, a reckoning of sorts for the province's star system. But now an allegation has hit the world of politics, and as Justin Hayward shows us, at the highest level.
En raison de la prudence et de la peur.
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet is the latest to be accused. Posted anonymously on social media an allegation of sexual misconduct in 1999 that appeared on one of a growing number of websites devoted to accusations, usually of a sexual nature.
C'est un peu un wake-up call pour la société.
This woman co-created one such site, though not the one targeting Blanchet. She asked to remain anonymous herself because she fears reprisals.
Définitivement, la société jusqu'à maintenant a failli à nous protéger.
Society has failed to protect us, she says, so we're protecting ourselves. Blanchet denies all the allegations. CBC has not verified the claims nor spoken to the person making them. Blanchet says he supports people who've suffered abuse and calls on his anonymous accuser to go to the police. The deluge of accusations has shaken Quebec's star system. Started by this superstar, singer Safia Nolin, who posted allegations of racism and sexual harassment against another Quebec superstar, actor and TV host Marie-Pierre Morin. Her post included pictures of bruises on her thigh she said came from a bite delivered by the actor. Morin has apologized, but what the tabloids call her empire, including television shows and a lingerie line, has crumbled. This communication strategist says the allegations have landed like a bomb because the personalities in Quebec's star system are so familiar through dozens of supermarket tabloids.
We feel like we know them because we've been in their kitchens, we've been in their basements, we've attended their kids' school plays through those tabloid magazines.
Quebecers now realize, she says, if their stars can come forward, so can they. Organizations that help Quebecers prosecute allegations of sexual assault are being bombarded with calls, and there's no sign those are letting up. Justin Hayward, CBC News, Montreal.
Hackers made off with more than $100,000 today by exploiting public trust in some of the world's most famous people and corporations. Aaron Collins shows us the tweets that fooled so many.
It reads like a who's who of the Twitterverse. Former President Barack Obama, Tesla founder Elon Musk, even Microsoft's Bill Gates, all had their Twitter accounts hacked, just some of the big names targeted by con artists. Scammers who use the accounts to send out tweets asking followers for Bitcoin in exchange for cash.
Social media is part of our daily lives, and Twitter in particular are known as a broadcasting platform. So party leaders, CEOs used to rely and still rely on this platform to disseminate key points. And the hack is huge because it shows vulnerability of this platform.
The fake tweets were quickly pulled down, and in a tweet, Twitter says it's aware of a security incident impacting accounts. The company says it's investigating. Still, the breach is a concern.
Whenever a high-profile attack has been detected by a very high-profile hacking team and they have misused it, afterwards they pass this vulnerability to the lower-level attackers and they try to use it against the wider targets that they have.
Twitter had locked down the hacked accounts, preventing them from tweeting and silencing some of the most influential voices on the platform. Most are back up and running for now, but Twitter says that could change. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Well, COVID-19 has put the squeeze on Canada's charities.
This is probably the greatest financial challenge we've faced in our 80-plus years of history.
Up next, dealing with millions of dollars in revenue losses. Plus, after answering your COVID questions for 4 months, we go back to basics with our doctor panel. How you're most likely to get infected, how COVID-19 is treated, and whether a vaccine is truly the be-all and end-all. We've got answers to the questions that keep coming up. And a close encounter in our moment.
I thought I was going to die.
Punched in the face by a bear. We're back in 2. COVID-19 is a threat to the health of Canadians in more ways than just the obvious ones. Charities that raise money to fight diseases and support the people who have them are coming up drastically short. Tashana Reid explains why.
COVID-19 has put marathons on hold, along with bike races, gala fundraisers, and other events that make money for charitable health organizations. Some events have moved online.
Welcome everyone to the virtual finish line event.
But donations are well below normal.
Not only is there the issue that people can't come together, but there's also the reality of the economy and that people are concerned for their jobs, for their own salaries.
The Health Charities Coalition of Canada says its members normally raise $650 million. But so far, donations are down more than 50%, chipping away at the $150 million typically earmarked for research grants. For the ALS Society, the pandemic has also stalled the donation and delivery of medical equipment like mobility chairs.
That 50% loss of revenue is going to be a challenge as we look forward.
The Canadian Cancer Society is the largest charitable donor for cancer research.
This is probably the greatest financial challenge we've faced in our 80-plus years of history.
This year, it expects donations to fall short by $80 to $100 million. The Heart and Stroke Foundation was forced to lay off 200 employees. Smaller health charities that rely on volunteers and private donations have to cut back on supporting people in need.
We've had issues being able to still keep up and do things for members in the community.
Instead of the usual $2,000 in monthly donations, the Sickle Cell Association of Ontario sees only a few hundred trickle in.
We're now going to have to find ways to come up with that money in some way, shape, or form.
Some charities will be eligible to tap into $350 million in federal funding promised back in April, but those funds have yet to be distributed. Tashana Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
And next on The National, our doctors and the COVID questions that keep coming up. A look at where we are and where we're going. next. Welcome back. We're going to reset a little bit today. Instead of your questions to our doctors, we're going to get some perspective on the questions that keep coming up. Think back to when this pandemic was declared, March 11th. Canada had 117 known cases and 2 deaths. Today, it's climbed past 109,000 cases with more than 8,800 deaths. It's a clear answer to the question, is the virus dangerous? But in 4 months, other answers to basic questions are still evolving. Even something as simple as, how do most people get infected? How effective are masks? And where are we on treatments, vaccines? When will we have them, and how reliable will they be? Back to basics on the table tonight. And joining me to help us through it all, 2 doctors joining us, 2 infectious diseases specialists, Dr. Lenora Saxinger and Dr. Rewat Deonandan. Hello to the both of you. Dr. Deonandan, maybe I'll start with you. Just a really basic question. In the overall kind of arc of where we are with this pandemic, beginning, middle, end, where are we?
We are in the first half of the first inning of a 9-inning ball game. So we've seen the first assault on our societies come to a close to some extent as this first wave comes to an end, but we're seeing a shift in responsibility. I'm fond of saying this is no longer the domain of doctors and scientists. Now the burden of responsibility shifts to the citizens to hold down the fort by doing responsible things. So now we're just trying to hold the caseload down and wait the number of months or years even until a viable solution, strategy, therapy, vaccine manifests.
Right, and I mean, we're in the first inning, and yet so much has changed in that time. Dr. Saxinger, just on the question of transmission, I mean, I guess we knew early on that the biggest threat was people, not things. And yet, I mean, a lot of us were preoccupied with things like wiping down our groceries, not touching door handles, not touching newspapers. How has our thinking evolved on that?
Well, I think a lot of early actions were driven by unknowns and driven by fear. But at the end of the day, this disease is spread from people who are infected, usually people who unwittingly are spreading it to others before they have significant symptoms or without really pondering the significance of their symptoms, if that makes sense. We're a society that tends to just keep on going in spite of nuisance symptoms, and we have to stop doing that. And so sharing airspace, sharing close contact, prolonged time, indoors time, are the things that keep on emerging as being the biggest risk for transmission. And I think that, being excessively paranoid about washing your vegetables with bleach or soap, really it is almost activity that's misplaced, because you should be spending your time thinking carefully about how many people you're in contact with, trying to keep that 1 to 2 meters away, properly using masks and washing your hands a whole lot. And that budgeting of your time and your effort, I think, is what we need to do to get us through the next part of the pandemic.
Because do we even know of certain cases where surface transmission was the culprit, or even in a large volume of cases?
There's that's always kind of we didn't find anything else, so it might have been fomite transmission. And there have been a few case theories where they suggest that based on the fact that people didn't appear to have a lot of airtime together, but they were handling common utensils or surfaces, that might have been the case. But to be honest, it has not really been shown to be a major transmitting factor. And although there were some early studies showing that you could actually recover a virus off surfaces for quite a long time, they use really, really high concentrations of virus that would exceed what people would usually emit their own droplets. Right. And so even that's a little bit unclear.
Dr. Deonandan, on treatments, where are we at? How effective are they?
Well, we have a couple of treatments that everyone knows about. The remdesivir is known to diminish severity by some extent. Now we have dexamethasone, which is known to might be the salvation for individuals who are having a hard time with this disease. And convalescent plasma, that's the spun down antibodies extracted from an infected person, not the antibodies, but the actual plasma of an infected and recovered person injected into a new person. And that's an ancient technology going back hundreds of years. Now, those exist and those are fine, but they're not game changers. So we still don't have a life-saving treatment. There are some promising therapies around the corner, like monoclonal antibodies. We hear a lot of noise about them being game changing, but I've yet to see anything manifest in demonstrable evidence
Right.
yet. I'm confident, but it's not there yet.
And I mean, can you just sort of explain, like I'm 5, like what are these treatments actually doing, and what makes an effective treatment?
Well, some of them attempt to block the entrance of the virus into our cells. Some attempt to block the reproduction of the virus. Some attempt to block the transformation of an infection to a disease state. And some attempt to simply just reduce symptoms. And some are just attempt to just prevent you from dying once you're already on that path. So there's a whole spectrum of approaches being taken. Everybody wants the magic pill. You take it and suddenly you have no symptoms and you're fine and you're not infectious. But that, of course, does not exist yet. And instead, we're going to have a spectrum of possible treatments that we can deploy to a variety of different kinds of presentations.
Well, on that note then, Dr. Saxinger, let's talk about vaccines. I mean, I remember once upon a time, these were just going to be the silver bullet, the be-all, end-all. Now, I feel like that hope has almost been diffused in the sense that we don't really know how effective a vaccine would be, how long immunity would last. So where are we at there?
Well, as you alluded to, I think that people have seen vaccines as the way out for a long time now, but there's been some suggestions in the literature lately that maybe the antibody response wanes more quickly than we would like it to. But at the same time, although I think people took that news kind of hard, that suggestion, we still actually don't have a full grasp on the level of antibodies you need to be able to be protected. And we also are just working out how much cell-mediated immunity might affect your resistance to infection. And so with that in mind, I think that the pieces of the puzzle for vaccines are starting to come together. I'm still quite optimistic, honestly. I really am. And there certainly are cases where vaccines actually work better than natural infection at protecting people. There's been a lot of scientific effort brought to bear on this, and there's a number of different types of vaccines in development that are quite promising, honestly, and they're new and they're novel, and we need to know more. But the one final thing that makes me somewhat hopeful is that because of the honestly horrific epidemic that's going on across the world, vaccine testing will be a lot faster than it ever has been for other diseases. When we're trying to test a vaccine against a rare disease, it takes a long time to get enough cases to test it. In this case, there's a heck of a lot of cases, and I think a lot of interest in trying to use vaccines properly and quickly. So I'm still more optimistic than you are, I think.
Fascinating conversation, doctors. I always appreciate your insight. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, the pandemic has people looking for new, innovative ways of doing things. When we come back, how 2 Ontario brothers are revolutionizing an old piece of hospital technology. Plus,
It hit me in the face. You can kind of see that big gash and one saw in the back too.
that's a bear she's talking about. Her story in our moment. From finding new ways to connect with each other to staying safe and staying in business, the last few months have really highlighted Canadian creativity, problem solving, and ingenuity. And we want to as well. So over the next few weeks, we're turning the spotlight on innovation and solutions in this time of COVID. And tonight, that innovation takes the form of a medical device that lets doctors monitor patients from a distance. It's been approved in the US. It's going through that process in Canada. And after winning a challenge for COVID-19 solutions put out by nickel producer Valley, it's now ramping up production. Nick Purdon introduces us to the Ontario brothers behind it.
Imagine you're in an intensive care unit and they've got patients that have COVID across the whole floor, and you're monitoring each of these patients.
That's the situation in hospitals all over the world. Doctors, nurses caring for patients and trying to stop the spread of the virus. When the pandemic hit, Joe Eibel realized he was working on something that could help with both.
Anything that we can do to eliminate the risk of infection, the risk of exposure, the risk of transmission are all a huge benefit, and our technology fits nicely into that.
For the past 5 years, Joe's been working nonstop on a device that fits in the palm of your hand. It seems kind of like something out of Star Trek.
It's the world's first wearable and wireless Doppler ultrasound machine. So you just turn the device on. It connects wirelessly via Bluetooth to iPhone, iPad.
Joe likes to say that he's replaced one of the main functions of this 300-pound machine with something that weighs almost as much as a watch.
It's non-invasive, it's wireless, it's remote. It's got a whole bunch of advantages where you can be actually physically distanced from the patient but still making informed clinical decisions. You can, you don't have to put a catheter or some sort of invasive sensor inside the patient's body.
The device measures blood flow, an important indicator healthcare workers use to monitor patients.
Looks good.
Joe explains that right now in hospitals it takes almost 25 minutes and expert training to get the same results that his patch delivers in an instant.
We can track changes in blood flow that give us a sense.
Joe didn't get this far alone. He started Flowsonics, the company behind the device, with his younger brother Andrew.
We're all in. We've been all in for years, and we're developing a technology that has the potential to help a lot of people clinically. And so, we're not going to stop until we get this thing on patients.
Full disclosure, this looks like a real hospital room, but it's actually a simulation lab at Health Science North in Sudbury, Ontario. And not only that, but...
Can you introduce us to the patient?
Yeah, this is my mom.
And Mom, what do you think of what your boys are doing?
I'm very proud.
How come?
Well, because I've always wanted them to do something that would make them want to get up in the morning and be happy, be passionate, and that's what they're doing.
What have you learned about them?
How much patience they have, how much determination they have, how hardworking they are.
I'm curious what that is.
Andrew explains that getting a new medical device to the marketplace is the hardest thing he's ever done.
The mountain that you've got to climb to get an idea through regulatory and safety into a hospital, then deal with all of the different departments within the hospital and training the staff. Like it's an epic challenge, and I don't think a lot of people would take that challenge on if they knew what it entails, because it's a long road.
The brothers hope soon to be able to produce 1,000 devices a week.
It's good.
Good thing, too, as the technology was recently cleared to be used in the United States.
Are you proud of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You get to look at it and say, I worked with a team of people that invented a new technology. It's something that hopefully can become standard of care. We did something that's helping, and that's kind of the end goal for me.
COVID has brought death and upheaval to the world, but the fight against it has brought innovations that will change the way we live. Nick Purdon, CBC News, Sudbury.
Next on The National, turning down tourism.
They have every reason to protect themselves and not be dealing with an onslaught of people coming in who've been where, doing what?
Some First Nations in BC are telling visitors no thanks this summer. Right after this. Welcome back. Many First Nations communities in BC benefit from tourism, but this summer, some are choosing not to welcome visitors. Greg Rasmussen shows us the challenges some communities are facing in deciding how and whether to reopen.
This ferry links the outside world to Cormorant Island, home to about 500 people in Alert Bay and a neighboring First Nations reserve. After an Indigenous community member died of COVID in April, the island shut itself off to non-residents.
I found it astounding that early on there were still people wanting to visit and be tourists. When it was a time when we should have been staying home or should be staying home.
Now, the community is cautiously reopening to those wanting to see its spectacular totem poles and open vistas.
Certainly a bit of nervousness, but nowhere near what it was like when we were in the middle of it.
A very, very special mask.
The lack of visitors has hit the local cultural center, renowned for its collection of masks and carvings.
The Umista Cultural Center is important to tell a story to the rest of the world on what has happened to our people. It costs a lot of money to maintain the operations of the center.
While some communities are cautiously reopening, others are remaining firmly closed. Local residents took to the waters off Haida Gwaii after 2 fishing lodges reopened despite the objections of Indigenous leaders. Haida Gwaii is the largest of a number of remote, mostly Indigenous jurisdictions along the BC coast, telling visitors not to come. Most tourists arriving at these checkpoints are cooperating, but some have become hostile when asked to turn around. New Hulk Hereditary Chief Noel Putlas says the measures safeguard vulnerable residents.
The value of protecting our elders is high.
Many Indigenous tourism operators are worried about the financial pain, but they don't see an easy way out.
Many of us will suffer, but the general moral, ethical, if you will, response is, well, we don't want to be the one to bring it here.
Back in Alert Bay, a dock that would normally be packed with visiting boats. This Nanaimo couple is sailing up the coast, but they checked on the latest rules before coming ashore.
They have every reason to protect themselves and not be dealing with an onslaught of people coming in who've been where, doing what.
The bottom line, they say, respect the wishes of these communities. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Alert Bay, BC.
There are more than 8,800 COVID-19 related deaths in Canada. We've been taking you through the stories behind those numbers in a project we call Lives Remembered. Here's Allan Few, remembered by his daughter, Lori.
My name is Lori Few. I lost my father, Allan, to COVID-19 on May 7th, 2020. My dad was steadfast, a prairie guy, born and bred in Saskatoon. My mom, too. They got married and they stayed married for 65 years until the day he died. My dad was a geological draftsman for the PFRA, a federal agency founded in 1935 in response to the drought crisis. But the title, the role really that defined my dad, was sensei. My dad was a Godan in judo. That's a fifth dan, which is a big deal. But that didn't mean as much to my dad as being a leader for generations of young people in the sport. He's in the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame for living the meaning of that word sensei, a martial arts teacher. But that didn't stop him from doing anything and everything for me. Like the time I got a run in my nylons at the law school year-end banquet. I called my dad from the event about this terrible tragedy. He jumped on his motorcycle and showed up at the event with not one, but 2 pairs of nylons, different shades, to make sure I'd have something to match my outfit. He taught me to be fearless and powerful and independent, and to never, ever think that being a girl was less than being a boy. My brother and sister and mom and I couldn't be with my dad at the end. If I could say one more thing, one more time to my dad, I would say, you were a damn good man, and I'm gonna miss you like crazy.
Thank you, Lori Few, for sharing Allan's story with us. We have gathered many of other stories online, and you can find them at cbc.ca/remembered. Erin McKenzie is used to hiking. She has over a decade of experience, but this week she had a terrifying encounter that she'd never had before with a bear. It was a close call, and it could have ended much differently. Her incredible story is our moment.
I went for a run up in Riding Mountain National Park. I was going up a pretty steep hill, and all of a sudden I was confronted by a bear. It came out of the bush about a foot away from me. I guess that I spooked it as much as it scared me. It hit me in the face. You can kind of see that big gash, and once on the back too. I thought I was going to die. I have never been attacked by a wild animal before, and I have well over a decade of hiking and backpacking experience. All I could see was all the blood pouring down my shirt and my body. I was starting to hyperventilate a little bit. I called my mom and I stayed on the phone with her for about 40 minutes as I made my way back to the car. I think it was just the wrong place, the wrong time. So I did have my 4 dogs with me, and they're used to hiking and running with me every day. We're all lucky to be alive.
Yeah, lucky. And so get this. So this happened on Monday, earlier this week. She was back out hiking today, not on that particular trail, but hiking all the same. And it is amazing, right? How quickly this happened, how quickly it ended. I mean, it all must have happened in a flash. But here's the thing. I mean, no joke here, right? Parks Canada, the advice, if you're out on a hiking trail where there's a risk of a bear, make noise. A bear bell is good for that. That's The National for this Wednesday, July 15th. Have a great night.